Hey, how you doing? Welcome to, maybe, welcome to this week's work in progress. Now, you have to forgive me. I'm still getting used to using Cam Twist and Cocoa Split to do this. That's kind of a cool setup, but it takes a little getting used to, and you have to forgive my incredibly organized office today. In fact, actually, it's on my list of to-dos for this week, and I didn't get to it. Welcome to... And I'm also echoing. So let's get into it. Here. Hey, how about I put my name up here? See, isn't this cool? Cam Twist will do all sorts of neat stuff. If you're using a Mac and you're wanting to do some live events, Cam Twist does all sorts of neat stuff. Much of it I really haven't found great use for. For instance, I could put part of my Twitter stream on there. I don't really have a good use for it, but it's cool that I can do it, right? Anyways, let's jump into it with a little bit about Crucible. For those who don't know, Crucible is a game currently currently on Kickstarter that we're working on. It is essentially best described as Gauntlet meets Terminator. There's a whole lot of time travel involved, but it's a user-controlled time travel. It's not like the old game Time Pilot. Time Pilot, you move from time to time to time in a logical sequence. You didn't really have any control over it. Here, you're going to have a lot of control over where you're going and when you're going. But basically, the idea taken from Terminator is an AI that goes back in time and tries to wipe out humanity. Except for in Crucible, it succeeded. The only little remnant of humanity left is well, you and a small team of people, about 14 people, are all that's left. Now, in theory, if I hit this button, see, I say the words "in theory," and it doesn't work. Let's try this again. Okay, and there we go. See, it's awesome. It's great when technology works, and eventually I'll get the hang of doing all this. But right now, it's a little bit of getting used to. The Crucible Kickstarter is actually going very well. We've got 23 backers and $3,600 out of our $10,000 goal, and we got 20 days left to go. Now, I know we've got a couple of companies. Part of our rewards for this is actually kind of interesting. Part of our rewards are advertisements in a couple of magazines that I purchased the rights to at the beginning of the year. In fact, those magazines are already supposed to have been kicked off and back into production and everything. We hit huge delays along the way. And that is unfortunate, but sometimes that's how things go. So now that we're just about ready, we've got all the content. Surprisingly, we want to ship with advertising. In fact, I don't have an example. The old Asimov's magazines and things like that came with a bunch of stories for people to read. And they had some kind of interesting ads in it and things like that. We actually wanted to preserve that whole concept from beginning to end. With a magazine called Residential Aliens Magazine and a second magazine called Fear and Trembling Magazine. Residential Aliens is science fiction, speculative fiction, fantasy, and also has some elements of spirituality in a lot of it. The idea that there's something beyond. Not every story is that way, and spirituality does not mean Christianity. Actually, it means the whole broad spectrum. That maybe there's something more out there. What else is there beyond our control? It's a cool idea for our entire focus for a magazine. Fear and Trembling is the same way. It's horror stories with that spiritual bent and spiritual edge. That was a great idea. Unfortunately, the previous owner and editor ran out of time. He just really couldn't keep it up anymore. So him and I struck a deal, and we're bringing it back to life. We were supposed to be shipping our first issues back in April, and then we got busy with a whole lot of other stuff. The editor that I had picked to head up the magazine got sick. And when I mean sick, I mean really sick, including a heart attack and a couple other things. Yeah, not real good luck. So with this Kickstarter, one, we're giving this unique option for advertising for people who back it. That back it at let's see, I think it's $100. Nope. $150 or more, all the way up into, and we actually had somebody to take this. Now, keep in mind, before we started the Kickstarter, I had talked to a number of companies and upsold them this idea. Hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is what you're going to get back from it. So one of the companies actually has bid on it and done their thing. We've got a local author that contributed at the $500 level. So the Kickstarter is actually going very well. Crucible development this week, though. The biggest thing that's been going on with Crucible development this week is... Can I find the page? We can find the page. Here we go. And we're going to switch over to it. Nope, apparently we're not. We're going to switch over to it. So it should make a good noise like... Anyways, the Crucible website, breakthecrucible.com. One of the things we got in here is, if we go under the story of Crucible, is a whole lot of stories being built up that are around the plot line. See, I don't want to tie Crucible players up with what it takes to play this game. What is in the background? Why is time travel done this way? What happened that the AI took over? You know what? From a gamer standpoint, we don't care. What we care about is that we want to get in, have a lot of good action, and get out. We want to, we're here to play a game. So for those that love the lore and the story behind a game, breakthecrucible.com has a lot of that going online. The first 3 sections are already up, which is just an introduction, a discussion on time travel, and then the first actual piece, which throws you into the group that was creating humanity's first time travel project and what went wrong. That is one of the things that my lunchtime project, essentially, and while I was on vacation, I also wrote some more sections. They're sitting with a guy by the name of Mark Argenbright, who's part of our team here, and he's part of the marketing team. He's doing editing on those next sections. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more sections already written. He's got 4 of them right now. As soon as he gets the edits back to me on those, we'll be putting them online on pretty much an every other day basis. And this is just kind of the flavor of it. This is what happened to get the player to the point that they're at. I don't want to tie up gameplay. We say it's Gauntlet meets Terminator. Gauntlet did not have a plot line. You were killing a lot of things, and you're going down a dungeon. That's all that mattered to you. It was about the moment of the gameplay. We're not doing a 3D first-person RPG where, well, everything is about the plot line. Here, just have fun. That's what we want. And that's where our focus is. When it comes to our other game projects, however, let's go to... But seriously, eventually I'll get the hang of this. Jumpman Forever. Jumpman Forever has been out on the Ouya for a little bit. It is now shipping for, in beta anyways, it is shipping for the PC and Mac. Controllers work, etc., etc. A lot of that stuff's working. However, unfortunately, and this is why we have betas, unfortunately, in about a minute you're going to hear the door, and that's actually my wife coming home. Yes, I office from inside of my own house. It saves a lot of money, and it allows me to focus a great deal more on game development rather than and that portion of the business rather than paying for rent and extra electricity and everything else. Anyways, unfortunately, we ran into a list of bugs that have shown up, and that's okay. That's part of the process for beta testing, and that's why we're so excited to get this out to people. We want to make a very, very, very solid product. But unfortunately, 2 sets of bugs that are in there are very, very weird. One of them listed right here, screen goes haywire when Jumpman launches. That's on OS X 10.9, 10.9.4. Pretty much the exact setup that I know of that I have right now. So there's no reason why that should be happening. The other one is and I've got confirmation from multiple people. Um, Jumpman Forever on Windows. If you're on Windows 7, um, we end up with a situation where it just pops up an error, says null function pointer, and quits. And it doesn't start the game. So we're going to have to figure that one out. And unfortunately, those are always fun sort of bugs because I don't have a Windows 7 machine here. My development machine is a Windows 8.1. So yeah, I'll be setting up some VMware sessions to run various configurations of Windows 7 to see if I can get it to repeat the same problem. I hate those sort of bugs that are specific to certain configurations because they're so hard to figure out what it is that is causing that one thing. And if I was to guess, based on a little bit of research so far, it looks a whole lot like it's about a video driver issue, but it's going to take a little while to find out. And I've got questions out to people that have reported this already, so we'll see what happens. On one of our other projects, which I don't even have a logo for yet, we haven't released the full name, but the working title is P3V3. It's a doubleheader game that we're doing, and we brought on a new artist that's going to be working on that, and we're hoping in about a week to 2 weeks we might show a little bit of something off, because we're going to do something insane, really insane. See, we're part of the We Free the Games Fund. We did it with Jumpman Forever. And we did, that's not the button I wanted. Here we go. We did it with Jumpman Forever, which you can see here. We're doing it with Crucible, which you can see here featured right there. What the Free Games Fund does is just, it's absolutely awesome for an indie. Making games is expensive. It really is. It takes a long time. We have to buy resources. I have to pay people money. People want money to do stuff. I mean, what is with that, anyways? But we end up with a situation where we got to make it work. Free the Games Fund is basically a matching fund. If we say that we want $10,000, they'll match $10,000 if we make the Kickstarter. Right now, it looks like Crucible is on its way. It'll probably make it. We're going to try and do one more. This will be our third Kickstarter for video games, and I don't know if we'll make it, I'll be honest. P3V3 is going to be an absolutely rockingly awesome game that brings back concepts from the old original Populous and Populous 2. Ignore Populous, the beginning. It also brings in some stuff from Dungeon Keeper 1 and Dungeon Keeper 2. It's another game that is a love letter to a certain set of game styles, that God Sim sort of idea. There have been God Sims done since then, but I've never felt any of them were quite as interesting as Populous and Populous 2. And there's been a couple of games that have tried to do the Dungeon Keeper thing, including the absolutely abysmal Dungeon Keeper for the iPhone, which was based around the idea that you had to spend a whole lot of money on in-app purchases just to make it work, which was unfortunate. I was looking so forward to that. Because no matter what, even though I'm a game developer, that means that at my core, I love games. I love to play awesome games, and Dungeon Keeper was an awesome game, so it was really disappointing to see something that just basically got raped, and horribly so. But anyways, with P3V3, maybe in a couple of weeks we'll show that off, and we're going to try and see if we can get one more Kickstarter out the door. Now, the reason for wanting to get this done quickly and get it started showing off and get a Kickstarter started for it is August 31st is the last day of the We Free the Games Fund. If we don't, if the project doesn't make by then, we can't take advantage of that Kickstarter, which would be unfortunate. And what they did is they set $1 million aside. Well, they haven't used it up yet. Hey, so it would be horrible for me as a developer who's trying to get a studio started to pass up the opportunity to bring in more cash that I can bring to help us create better games. We are not. We've also picked up a couple of other projects. Now, one of them is kind of funny. because, hang on, let's swap screens again. This is Beaver Lake Campground. It's actually owned by a relative of my wife's, so of mine too. They've got a very old site, so appearance-wise, it's a little dog-eared, and their mobile version is even more so. So we're going to do 3 major things to it. 1, we're going to do an overhaul of it. 2, we're going to make sure that the mobile version sticks with it. But 3, and this is actually the most important part, is they have a reservation system that they used to be using, and the company just went and decided they were no longer going to be in business. They got a very short. They've got a very short notice that hey, we're going to be closing down. So right now they're just using Excel sheets to try and keep track of all of their RV sites and all the places that they're all the reservations and things like that. We're going to be building a brand new online system for them that actually integrates a little bit with their website and pulls data and gives them reports and blah blah blah. Very interesting idea. The problem is there's a number of services they could have used. They could have moved to a different service. But 1, they were kind of a little gun shy because it could happen again. And 2, none of them quite fit their needs. Nothing specifically for how they like to operate. So we're going to be creating something that operates exactly the way they want to. And that's going to be wonderful for them. Now, of course, they get the friends and family discount, so it's not like I'm making a huge amount of money off this. But it is, I'm kind of looking forward to the project, and I was hoping today to break ground on getting a new live editable site up for them so that they could see this is the direction that I'm going to take their appearance layer, just their website layer, and get it up and running, and get the databases up and running, and start getting the layers for reservations up and running. That was part of what today's was supposed to be, but some days just run a little long. What else is there? There's also a couple of other, there's another 2 websites that I've got that I'm working on. One for a local author that I've got her other, she's actually ending up with 2 sites, one for herself and one for her books. The one for herself is already done. The one for her books is a work in progress, and she's got me most of the information I need. So now it's just a matter of putting the nuts and bolts together and making it look great. And that, I think, is the end of, I'm kind of checking my sources here, because I actually queued all this up ahead of time. I think that is the end of the work in progress for today. Theoretically, as I've said before, theoretically it's supposed to be once a week, maybe even twice a week that'll do this. And it's supposed to be also a Google Hangout. Somehow I did not get Google Hangout portion of it working right. I'm not sure how. Stuff happens. That's just the way it works. Stuff happens. Anyways, so hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you've got any questions, get a hold of me on midnightrider.com or jumpmanforever.com or crucible.com, breakthecrucible.com. Check out the projects we're working on. Be sure to check out the Kickstarter for Crucible. Hey, we can use every bit of help we can, including just telling everybody else about it. That would be fantastic. And we'll see you next time. Bye.